Have you ever felt like you belong to another time? That you carry memories of a civilization that official history insists on calling a myth? In Edgar Cayce's deepest visions, Atlantis wasn't just real. It was the cradle of a consciousness so elevated that it still echoes in our souls today. And most impressively, according to Cayce, this civilization didn't disappear. It fell asleep, waiting for the exact moment to return. And that moment is now. Prepare to discover truths that will shake everything you thought you knew about who you really are. When Cayce plunged into his deep trances, he didn't see Atlantis as a simple island lost in the ocean. He saw far beyond that. He saw a civilization that was born even before humanity assumed the physical form we know today. A time when the beings who inhabited that continent understood the true nature of reality. Everything is vibration, everything is energy, everything is manifested consciousness. They were known as the sons of the law of one. They were not merely advanced humans. They were masters of universal balance, capable of transforming matter into light with the power of pure intention, capable of shaping cosmic energy itself and creating living forms from it. For them, what we now call a miracle was simply the natural workings of spiritual laws. Imagine a society where there was no separation between science and spirituality, between matter and spirit, between the visible and the invisible. Everything functioned in perfect harmony because they deeply knew that everything is one. Every atom, every thought, every emotion was recognized as an expression of the same divine source. But here's what's most disturbing about Cayce's revelations. That essence wasn't destroyed when Atlantis sank. It was merely forgotten, asleep, and it's stored within each of us, waiting to be reactivated. You, watching now, may carry fragments of that ancestral memory, that inexplicable feeling of longing for a place you've never been in this life, that knowledge that seems to come from nowhere, that feeling that you were once so much more than you are today. The Atlanteans knew that human consciousness would one day become denser, losing its connection with higher dimensions. But they also knew that this was temporary, a necessary cycle of forgetting before the Great Awakening. And according to Cayce, that awakening has begun. It is happening now as you read these words. Now prepare your mind for something that will challenge everything you've learned about history and technological evolution. Cayce described in detail a science so advanced that it would make our smartphones, quantum computers, and artificial intelligence seem like primitive children's toys. In the heart of Atlantis existed the great crystals. They were not decorative stones. They were living generators of cosmic energy, immense structures some tens of meters high, perfectly aligned with the stars and with the Earth's energy vortices. These crystals not only captured energy, they amplified it, purified it, and distributed it to the entire civilization without cables, without losses, without pollution. The Atlantean power towers generated energy fields so powerful that they sustained the entire infrastructure of society. Perpetual illumination without electricity, heating and air conditioning solely through frequency manipulation, transportation via vehicles that floated on Earth's natural magnetic lines, gliding silently between cities without burning a single bit of fuel. But the most fascinating thing was the healing centers. Cayce saw entire temples dedicated to regenerating the body through pure vibration. Chambers where a person would lie down and be enveloped by specific frequencies of light and sound. Damaged tissues would rebuild themselves. Diseases would disappear. Aging would slow down. All this without surgery, without chemicals, only with the profound knowledge that the body is a musical instrument that can be retuned. They mastered water in ways that seem impossible to us today. They created fountains of youth, literally, where the water was structured into sacred geometric patterns that revitalized every cell. They knew the power of sound to lift enormous masses of stone, building pyramids and temples with a precision that modern engineers cannot replicate. And here comes Cayce's spine-chilling prophetic warning. Every time he spoke of these technologies, he said the same thing. It will return when man is ready. As if these secrets were kept in a cosmic library, waiting for humanity to mature enough to use them wisely. Are we ready? Or will we repeat the same mistakes? If you feel that something inside you recognizes these truths, leave a like now. And if you know someone who needs to awaken to this, share this video. Every great light casts a great shadow, and Atlantis, at its height of power and knowledge, began to generate its own darkness. Casey was very clear in describing that the fall did not come from the outside. It came from within. It wasn't a meteor. It wasn't a random natural catastrophe. It was a conscious choice, a series of choices that led to the inevitable collapse. What began as a unified civilization under the law of one slowly fractured. On one side remained those who maintained the purity of the original mission, to use knowledge to uplift all life, to serve the greater good, to maintain the balance between spirit and matter. These were the true children of the law of one. On the other side emerged the sons of Belial. They were not external demons. They were Atlanteans who chose a different path, the path of personal power above the collective, the path of manipulating energy for individual gain, the path of domination over other beings instead of harmonious cooperation. Initially, the differences were subtle, philosophical debates, disagreements about how to use technology. But pride is like a crack in a dam, small at first, but growing until the entire structure collapses. And in Atlantis, that crack pierced the very fabric of society. The sons of Belial began experimenting with sacred energies in forbidden ways. They used crystals not to heal, but to control, not to enlighten, but to dominate. They created war technologies that distorted natural forces. They genetically manipulated living beings, creating hybrid creatures to serve as slaves. They violated the cosmic laws that sustained all of creation. The children of the law of one warned. They prophesied. They pleaded. But the addiction to power had already taken root too deeply. The spiritual conflict became political. Politics became ideological warfare. And ideological warfare transformed into real technological warfare. And then the unthinkable happened. The very crystals that sustained civilization were transformed into weapons. Casey saw it in his visions, the great crystals being reconfigured to generate destructive pulses, artificial earthquakes, energy blasts that tore through the sky, technology so powerful that it began to open fissures not only in the earth, but in the very dimensional fabric of reality. The fall of Atlantis was not merely the shipwreck of an island. It was the fall of human consciousness itself. It was the moment we forgot who we were. It was when humanity chose fear instead of love, power instead of service, separation instead of unity. And here's the part Casey considered most urgent. This pattern is repeating itself now. At this very moment in human history, we are at the same point of choice. We have advanced technology, artificial intelligence, genetic manipulation, nuclear energy, climate control, and we have the same division. Those who want to use it to uplift everyone, and those who want to use it to dominate. The question that echoes through the millennia is simple. Will we learn from Atlantis, or will we repeat the cycle? The fall of Atlantis did not happen all at once. Casey described 3 great destructions, each separated by thousands of years, each marking a new step in the descent of human consciousness, and each carrying a lesson that we urgently need to understand today. The first destruction occurred approximately 50,000 years ago. At that time, Atlantis was still a vast continent, covering much of what is now the Atlantic Ocean. The misuse of the generator crystals caused energy explosions that destabilized entire tectonic plates. Parts of the continent sank. Millions died. But the civilization survived, traumatized but still united enough to rebuild. Before we continue, if you're enjoying our content and would like to support our work and become part of our exclusive community, become a channel member. Besides helping us continue bringing you amazing content, you'll have access to special benefits. Click the button, become a member, and join us. That first fall should have been the final warning. But the human ego has a short memory when power is at stake. Reconstruction brought innovation, and innovation brought pride back. The survivors quickly forgot the lessons written in blood and salt water. The second destruction came approximately 28,000 years ago. This time, the conflict between the sons of the Law of One and the sons of Belial had intensified beyond any possibility of reconciliation. Even more dangerous experiments with primitive atomic energy, yes, Casey saw this clearly, caused explosions that further fragmented the continent. Large islands formed where there had once been continuous land. The climate changed drastically. Entire species became extinct, and for the first time, a massive exodus began. Groups of Atlanteans, mainly the sons of the Law of One who saw their inevitable fate, began to migrate to other lands. They took with them what they could salvage of sacred knowledge. Some went to Egypt, where they became the builders of the first pyramids, not the ones we know today, but even older temples, buried beneath the sands. Others sailed to the Americas, establishing civilizations that would later become the Maya, the Inca, the Aztec. Still others went to Tibet, to India, to regions of the Mediterranean, each group carrying fragments of total knowledge, waiting for the day when they could be reunited. And then came the third and final destruction. Approximately 12,000 years ago, curiously near the end of the last ice age, Atlantis suffered the final blow. Cayce witnessed volcanoes erupting simultaneously, earthquakes of unimaginable magnitude, tsunamis that swept away entire cities in minutes. The last remaining islands sank almost completely. Only a small portion emerged above the waters, and Cayce was specific about this, the region we now know as the Bahamas and Bimini. He prophesied that ruins would be found there, and remarkably, in the 1960s, submerged structures were indeed discovered near Bimini. Stones arranged in geometric patterns that geologists still debate as to whether they are natural or man-made. But the most important thing isn't where Atlantis sank, it's what its survivors did with the knowledge they salvaged. Cayce saw that they created a network of secret knowledge spread across the world. Hidden libraries, underground temples, sealed chambers with technology waiting to be rediscovered when humanity was ready. These three destructions were not divine punishments. They were natural consequences of universal laws being violated. They were planet Earth rebalancing itself when human consciousness created too much imbalance. They were warnings that echo to this day. When man plays God without the wisdom of a god, creation itself responds. And now, 12,000 years later, Cayce asserted that the cycle of concealment was ending. The chambers would be opened, the records would be found, the technology would be understood again, not because the time had come by chance, but because specific souls would incarnate with the mission of bringing this revelation. Souls who may be watching this video right now. One of Cayce's most specific and verifiable prophecies involves the physical resurgence of Atlantean structures. He wasn't just speaking in spiritual metaphors. He gave coordinates, descriptions, even approximate dates. And some of these predictions have already begun to manifest in ways that official science is still struggling to explain. Cayce stated categorically that ruins containing Atlantean technology would resurface, especially in the Americas. Entire temples, subterranean chambers, crystalline devices buried for thousands of years, patiently waiting beneath layers of earth and ocean. And he was clear, this revelation would not be accidental. It would happen when humanity's collective consciousness reached a specific point of resonance. The first wave of discoveries, he said, would begin on the east coast of North America, especially in the Bimini region and its surroundings. In 1968, exactly when Cayce had predicted decades earlier, pilots flying over shallow waters near Bimini photographed submerged rock formations that appeared clearly to have been built by intelligent hands. What became known as Bimini Road showcased limestone blocks arranged in perfectly straight lines for hundreds of meters. Skeptical geologists argued they were natural formations, but divers found stones with precise angles, worked corners, patterns that nature simply doesn't create on its own. And most intriguingly, carbon dating analysis dated some of these structures to periods that coincide exactly with Cayce's Atlantean chronology. But Bimini is just the beginning. Cayce spoke of 3 halls of records, Atlantean libraries where all the civilization's knowledge was preserved before its final destruction. One of these halls would be in Egypt, near or beneath the Sphinx, another in Yucatan in the Mayan region, and the third somewhere in the Atlantic, possibly near Bimini or the Azores. These halls are not merely repositories of ancient scrolls. Cayce described them as active technological chambers, sealed with energy that could only be opened when the correct vibration was applied. Inside them, recording crystals containing holographic information about all of Atlantean history, its scientific discoveries, its mistakes, its warnings for future civilizations. And here's something that will make you rethink everything. Cayce said that still functional crystalline devices are buried in strategic locations across the Americas. Not just dead artifacts, but still active technology, pulsing at low frequencies, awaiting reactivation. These devices are said to be connected to an energy grid that encircles the entire planet. In recent years, inexplicable archaeological discoveries have emerged exactly where Cayce indicated. Submerged pyramids, detected by sonar off the coast of Cuba. Megalithic structures at the bottom of Lake Titicaca in Bolivia. Intense magnetic anomalies at specific points in the Amazon that satellites cannot explain. Ruins of entire cities beneath the Guatemalan jungle revealed by LiDAR technology. Each new discovery that mainstream archaeology attempts to fit into its established chronologies ends up generating more questions than answers. How did primitive civilizations move 100-ton blocks with millimeter precision? How did they align constructions with constellations that would only have been visible from that angle 12,000 years ago? How did they work granite and diorite, some of the hardest stones on the planet, with a perfection that would defy modern tools? Casey's answer is simple and revolutionary. Because they were not primitive. They were Atlantean colonies, or civilizations founded by Atlantean survivors. And the knowledge they used was not developed from scratch. It was inherited from a much older and more sophisticated science. Can you feel that something is changing? That buried truths are finally coming to light? Then like and share so that more people can awaken. Now we come to the most personal and perhaps most important point of everything Casey revealed about Atlantis. Because it's not just about ancient history or lost technology. It's about you, about who you really are and why you are here now, at this specific moment in human evolution. Casey was absolutely clear about this. Thousands of souls who experienced the Atlantean era are massively reincarnating in the 20th and 21st centuries. It's not a coincidence, it's not random, it's a precise cosmic calling. These souls were summoned to this moment because they carry in their spiritual memory the lessons that humanity urgently needs to learn. How do you recognize a reincarnated Atlantean soul? Casey gave very specific indicators. First, a deep and persistent feeling of not fully belonging to this modern world. It's not just common dissatisfaction. It's a visceral feeling that you came from another time, another place, another level of consciousness. Like a musician forced to live in silence, you miss something you can't even fully name. Second indicator, abnormally developed intuition. Atlantean souls carry with them fragments of the direct knowledge they possessed. You simply know things without knowing how you know them. You have insights that didn't come from books or this life's experience. You understand spiritual and energetic concepts instantly, while others need years to absorb the same. Third, extreme sensitivity to energies. You feel places, people, and objects intensely. Heavy environments drain your vitality. Crystals, stones, and water seem to communicate something with you. You perceive energy fields around living beings. Sounds, colors, and vibrations affect you deeply. This is not ordinary sensitivity. It is the cellular memory of when you consciously worked with these energies. Fourth indicator, extremely vivid recurring dreams. These are not ordinary dreams. They are disguised memories. You see temples of impossible architecture bathed in blue or golden light, large crystals pulsing rhythmic energy, calm oceans reflecting multiple moons or suns, cities with translucent domes, towers emitting rays of colored light, luminous beings teaching in languages you don't know but understand perfectly. Casey said that these dreams would increase in frequency and clarity as we approach the moment of the Great Awakening. And they are not just random images. They are files being unpacked from your deep consciousness. Accessible memories that your soul is releasing because you need to remember. Because humanity needs you to remember. Fifth, an inexplicable attraction to ancient knowledge. You feel magnetically drawn to study lost civilizations, sacred technologies, sacred geometry, healing frequencies, the power of crystals, the energy of Earth's vortices. It's not academic curiosity, it's recognition. It's like rediscovering a language you once spoke fluently and had forgotten. And there's more. Reincarnated Atlantean souls often feel an inner urgency they can't rationally explain. A sense of mission, a spiritual pressure to awaken, to remember, to do something important before it's too late. You feel you're here for a specific reason, even if you haven't fully discovered what it is yet. Casey also warned that these souls bring not only gifts, but also unresolved karmas from the Atlantean era. Some were children of the Law of One, who failed to prevent destruction when they could. They carry unconscious guilt, an exaggerated sense of responsibility for the world, and a deep fear of using personal power. Others were children of Belial who used knowledge to manipulate. They bring tendencies toward control, difficulty with authority, and patterns of wanting to know too much before being spiritually prepared. But, and this is crucial, Casey always emphasized that no one is condemned to repeat patterns. These souls reincarnated precisely to have a new chance, to choose differently, to use the knowledge they possess with wisdom instead of pride, to serve the one instead of serving the separate ego. If you, the viewer, felt chills at any point in this video, if tears came to your eyes for no apparent reason, if something inside you screamed, "I know this, I remember this," seriously consider this. You might be one of those souls. And if you are, you're not here by chance. You're here because you agreed, even before you were born, to be part of the greatest collective awakening this planet has ever witnessed. Get ready, because now we're going to connect the dots between the distant past and the imminent future in a way that will dramatically expand your perception of reality. Casey didn't see Atlantis as a dead past. He saw it as a future being remembered. And according to him, modern science was inevitably moving toward rediscovering the very same principles that the Atlanteans mastered. Think about it. What is our cutting-edge science researching right now? Zero-point energy. The idea of extracting limitless energy from the very fabric of space. That's exactly what the Atlantean crystals did, according to Casey. Quantum physics, revealing that conscious observation affects matter. That's what the sons of the Law of One knew. Consciousness shapes reality. We are developing frequency therapies, using specific sounds and lights to heal illnesses. The Atlanteans had entire healing chambers based on this. We research acoustic levitation, moving objects with sound. They built pyramids this way. We experiment with structured water and water memory. They created fountains of youth with this knowledge. Nanotechnology allows us to manipulate matter atom by atom. Casey said that the Atlanteans did this with focused intention through programmed crystals. Artificial intelligence learns patterns and makes predictions. The Atlantean recording crystals stored information holographically and could be consulted mentally. We are rediscovering everything. We are not inventing, we are remembering. And this is not conspiracy theory or esoteric fantasy. Every principle that Casey described has a direct correlation with cutting-edge scientific research happening right now in laboratories around the world. But here lies the crucial difference, the point of choice that defines whether we evolve or self-destruct. Are we uniting spirituality with technology? Or are we repeating the Atlantean mistake of separating power from wisdom? Casey saw that the true return of Atlantean technology would only happen when consciousness and science reunited, when physicists meditated, when engineers studied sacred texts, when energy healers worked side by side with doctors, when we recognized that matter is merely condensed spirit, and spirit is merely elevated matter. He predicted that specific discoveries would mark the beginning of this reunification. First, scientific proof that thought has measurable weight, that consciousness generates detectable fields. This has already begun. Experiments with intention affecting random number generators, studies on cardiac coherence altering DNA, research showing meditation changing physical brain structure. Second discovery, the actual functioning of crystals as information and energy processors far beyond what we use in technology today. We already know that quartz is used in watches and computers for its piezoelectric properties, but we've barely scratched the surface. Casey said that correctly structured crystals can store infinite amounts of information, transmit energy wirelessly over long distances, and even serve as portals between different dimensions of reality. Third, understanding that sound is a primordial creative force. Cymatics, the study of how frequencies create geometric patterns in matter, is only beginning to reveal this. Researchers have discovered that certain frequencies cause cancer cells to self-destruct, while healthy cells remain intact. Other frequencies cause water to form perfect mandalas. The ancient knowledge that, in the beginning was the Word, is not a metaphor, it is literal physics. Casey warned that when these three understandings fully merged into mainstream science, we would be on the threshold of the Atlantean technological return, and we would also be in the moment of greatest danger. Because technology without spirituality is the path of Belial, and spirituality without practical understanding is ineffective in transforming the physical world. True return happens when engineer and mystic are one and the same, when scientist works in the lab in the morning and meditates at night, when we recognize that mathematical equations can be prayer and prayer can be technology, when we stop separating sacred from secular, spiritual from material, science from religion. And this is just beginning. More and more elite scientists are having profound spiritual experiences that completely change their approach. More and more spiritual masters are studying neuroscience and quantum physics. The boundaries are dissolving. According to Cayce, when this dissolution reaches critical mass, when enough people truly understand that all is one, then we will witness in 1 or 2 generations advances that will make the last 100 years of technological progress seem slow. Free energy for all, complete regenerative healing, instantaneous transportation, scientifically validated telepathic communication, radical extension of healthy life, conscious creation of reality. Atlantis will not return as a physical place. It will return as a state of collective consciousness that allows these technologies to operate safely. Because Atlantean tools in the hands of a belligerent consciousness would destroy the world in days. But the same tools in the hands of a unified consciousness would create a literal earthly paradise. The choice is ours, and the time for that choice is now. And now we come to the most profound, transformative, and utterly shocking insight of all Cayce's visions of Atlantis, the revelation that changes everything, the truth he spent decades trying to make people understand, but that most simply couldn't process. Atlantis will not return, because Atlantis never left. Stop, breathe. Let this sink in completely. This is not a play on words, this is not poetic metaphor. It is a literal statement about the nature of reality. Cayce saw something that completely transcends history and archaeology. He saw that Atlantis was never primarily a geographical place. It was always, from the beginning, a state of consciousness, a level of perception, a frequency of existence where spirit and matter dance in perfect harmony. Did the continents sink? Yes. Were the physical cities destroyed? Yes. Did millions of bodies perish? Yes. But true Atlantis, the consciousness that created all of that cannot sink. It cannot be destroyed, because it exists in a dimension that water cannot reach, that time cannot corrode, that death cannot touch. This Atlantean consciousness is present now, at this moment, as you read this. It is pulsing in the heart of every living human being, asleep in most, semi-conscious in some, fully awake in very few, but present, always present, waiting to be reactivated. Every time you feel genuine compassion for a stranger, Atlantis awakens a little. Every time you choose love instead of fear, you are rebuilding the temples. Every time you use knowledge to serve instead of dominate, you rekindle the crystals. Every time you recognize the divine in another being, you restore the law of one. Atlantis returns not when divers find ruins, not when archaeologists excavate temples, not when scientists replicate crystalline technology. These are merely external symbols of something infinitely deeper. Atlantis returns when you awaken to who you truly are, when you remember, not intellectually, but cellularly, viscerally, undeniably, that you are not this small, fragile body, that you are not this limited and frightened personality, that you are infinite creative power having a temporary human experience, that you have already mastered energies that you now fear, that you have already built civilizations that you now consider impossible, that you have already lived in a harmony that you now call utopia. This is the return, and it's happening person by person, soul by soul, choice by choice. Cayce saw waves of awakening, starting slowly, a few hundred souls per generation, then thousands, then millions, until it reaches a tipping point where the entire collective consciousness of humanity takes a quantum leap. And at that moment, not in some distant future, but possibly within the lifetime of people alive now, the veil will fall completely. And when that happens, when enough humans simultaneously awaken to their Atlantean nature, do you know what will happen? Technologies we consider miraculous will instantly become common sense. Not because someone invented them, because millions remembered them at the same time. Abilities we call paranormal will become normal. Telepathy, healing hands, materialization of objects through focused intention, conscious out-of-body experiences, awareness of past lives, communication with higher dimensions. All this not as a rare gift of exceptional mystics, but as basic skills that every child learns naturally. And the choice between the law of one and Belial will not disappear with awakening. It will intensify, because power without wisdom always creates chaos. But the difference is that this time, for the first time in 12,000 years, We will have a critical mass of souls who have already experienced what happens when we choose wrongly, who carry in deep memory the consequences of using knowledge to dominate instead of to serve. If this message is touching your heart and bringing new reflections to your life, know that each video we create here is made with great care and dedication. Our purpose is to spread spiritual knowledge, help more people awaken to their true essence, and strengthen this community of truth seekers. If this content made a difference to you, imagine how many souls can be enlightened by this same message. Here on YouTube, there's a simple and special way to support us: through the button. It was totally worth it. This is a way to show that this content had a real impact on your life and to help us continue producing quality materials, bringing knowledge and inspiration to those who need it most. Every contribution, no matter how small, is a gesture of gratitude and love, and makes all the difference in allowing us to continue this mission. But regardless of anything else, the most important thing is your presence here. Your engagement, your comments, and your support are the energy that keeps this community alive and growing. If you can contribute, we will receive it with open hearts and immense gratitude. If you can't, your positive vibes and participation are already a great gift. Together, we are spreading more light, more love, and more knowledge to the world. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. May your journey be filled with growth, learning, and connection with the divine. These souls, you may be one of them, are the cosmic insurance against repeating the cycle of destruction. They are the guardians of memory, the bearers of wisdom bought at a terrible price, and your mere presence here now, at this turning point in history, changes everything. The return of Atlantis will not be seen first in geography. It will be seen in eyes that suddenly see more, in hearts that suddenly feel more, in minds that suddenly understand more, in hands that suddenly heal more, in voices that suddenly speak truth more clearly. It will be seen in you making different choices than you have before, you ceasing to seek power and beginning to serve a greater power, you ceasing to compete and beginning to cooperate, you ceasing to accumulate and beginning to share, you transforming from a consumer of life into a creator of life. Atlantis returns through you, as you, in you, and when you finally, completely, absolutely accept this, you will understand the most liberating truth there is. You don't need to wait for Atlantis to return. You are Atlantis returning. If you've made it this far, something within you has recognized these truths. Perhaps you felt chills, inexplicable tears, a sense of longing for something you can't name. This is no coincidence. This is memory awakening. This is your Atlantean soul recognizing the call that has echoed through 12,000 years of oblivion. And know this, you didn't find this video by chance. You were guided here because you are part of the guardians of the return, because you carry within you fragments of the knowledge the world needs now, because your mission in this life includes helping others awaken as well. But awakening alone is not enough. The Law of One has always been about unity, about the collective, about everyone rising together. So now comes your part in this journey of return. Subscribe to this channel to continue receiving the keys that unlock ancient memories. Activate the bell to be notified when new secrets are revealed. Leave a comment saying, "I feel the call of Atlantis," because declaring intention aloud activates creative power. And above all, share this video with someone you feel is also awakening. Because every soul that remembers accelerates the collective return. Atlantis is not the past waiting to be discovered. It is the future waiting to be created, and you are a fundamental part of it. Welcome back, child of the Law of One. The true journey is just beginning.